Welcome to Business News. Now, it's one thing for a country to have a lower inflation rate, but it's another for it to translate to better living conditions for the people. This is according to the governor of the central bank, Lamido Sanusi.
On the sidelines of the Third Africa Consciousness Leadership Awards in Pretoria, South Africa, recently, Mr. Sanusi told our correspondent that long-term finance will boost infrastructure and improve productivity in all sectors.
In my area, we've done well with controlling inflation with the stable exchanges and banking system, but we still need to do much more in terms of getting credit and getting financial access to the poor people. At the end of the day, a low inflation regime helps the poor, but what would help them more is also to give them the kind of financial empowerment and independence that would take them out of poverty. So the challenges of providing long-term finance, building infrastructure, reviving factories, structural adjustment, improving productivity in agriculture, moving people out of poverty is important. We have heard of recent all this discussion about Africa growing at 6-7% or Nigeria at 7% for 10 years, and it sounds great compared to growth rates in the rest of the world. But China grew at more than 10% every year for 30 years. You need that kind of growth to make a real dent on poverty. And at the end of the day, that is all that matters. What is the condition of living of African people?
Central Bank Governor Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. Now, the Nigerian equities market resumed the week in North Territory as the local bourse recorded modest gains. The all-share index rose by 0.07% to end Monday's session at 37,898.30. The market capitalization of equities listed on the main board finished at 12.11 trillion naira. Leading the 36 laggards for the day are some market heavyweights: Nestle Nigeria, Julius Berger and Cadbury Nigeria, with value losses of less than 5 naira. When the bell rang, over 279.47 million shares were traded in 4,506 deals for 3.58 billion naira. Yields on Nigerian bonds are expected to drop at an auction on the secondary market amid demand from local fund managers ahead of their financial year end. Now, Nigeria's Debt Management Office will sell 65 billion naira in 3 and 20-year maturities on November the 13th. Traders say healthy demand at this week's auction should push yields lower to around 12.5% and 12.95% each on the two instruments. Last week, yields were mixed on the secondary market as the June 2022 bond traded at 12.53% on Friday, compared with 12.31% the previous week.
On the foreign scene, police in Spain say they've arrested 25 people in a sex trafficking ring that brought women from Nigeria to work as prostitutes. The gang was allegedly formed more than 20 years ago in Nigerian universities and was also known for sending letters by email asking recipients to send money.
The women, allegedly lured with the promise of good jobs in Europe, were first flown to Mexico or Brazil, traveling on false identity documents. From there, they were flown to Paris, then smuggled into Spain to work in the sex trade. 5 women who were victims of the sex ring were freed in the raids.
More than 100 vans concealing luxury goods were also seized. Goods worth an estimated 5 million euros were found in 94 vans seized in Madrid and another 26 in the port of Valencia, including high-end televisions and cases of alcohol.
The Spanish police alleged that the gang used the vans to launder their profits and send them back to Lagos, Nigeria.
Well, elsewhere, a huge relief effort is underway in the Philippines after Typhoon Haiyan made landfall. Rescue workers are struggling to reach some towns and villages cut off since the storm. Up to 10,000 people are believed to have died in Tacloban City and hundreds elsewhere. 4 million people have been affected by the storm, and many are now trying to survive without food, shelter, or clean drinking water. The storm, one of the most powerful on record to make landfall, swept through 6 central Philippine islands on Friday, wiping out homes, schools, and an airport. Head of the Red Cross describes the storm as bedlam.
We can't stop talking about the Golden Eaglets. President Goodluck Jonathan has announced a prize of 2 million naira each for the players in that team. Now, President Jonathan made the announcement at a reception in the presidential villa in their honor.
The Golden Eaglets won the just concluded FIFA Under-17 World Cup in the United Arab Emirates.
The hall in the presidential villa was filled with Nigerians and supporters eagerly waiting to welcome the Golden Eaglets after a resounding victory at the Under-17 World Cup in the United Arab Emirates. Minutes later, the champions made their way into the hall, and those gathered could not keep their eyes off them. The champions were not clad in the usual white jersey and football boots, but they were attired in white kaftans. They bared their minds to Channels Television on how they feel about being world champions and their plans for the future.
Before we left, we promised that we are going to bring it home, and with God willing, we did that.
Wow, it was like a dream come true, like seriously. I've been longing to, be among the best in the world.
I see me and my teammates, all of us in the future as the stars of this nation. That I hope that by the grace of God, that which we've learned in this camp from our coaches, the discipline, the attitude, everything, the character, both in and outside the pitch, I hope that I believe that the sky is going to be beyond our limit.
Moments later, the chief host, President Goodluck Jonathan, made his way into the hall, accompanied by top government officials. The merriment then went into full swing. President Jonathan was full of deep appreciation for the team over the feat in the World Cup. He announced what the federal government had in store for the team and their handlers.
That will be hearing news announcement this week. As a grandfather, as a federal government, for every player will give you 2 million naira.
The president wants the success replicated in the other teams.
If you can conquer the world at Under-17, there's no reason why we cannot conquer the world at the highest.
Nigeria is the only country in the world to win the Under-17 World Cup a record 4 times, a feat which has brought great joy to the country, particularly in these trying times. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
While hoping the senior national team will replicate the Golden Eaglets' feat, the training camp for the Super Eagles of Nigeria has opened today in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, with almost all the players expected between evening and Tuesday morning. Cross River State Sports Commissioner Patrick Ugbe has confirmed that all necessary logistics have been put in place for a comfortable camping and eventual victory for the national team on Saturday against Ethiopia. Training will start on Tuesday morning, depending on the arrival schedule of most players. And it adds that by that schedule, the Eaglets will have a healthy training before the game. The game will be played on Saturday at the UJ Eswene Stadium. Well, that's it on Sports News.
Anishrak, thank you for watching. I am Adeshewa Josh.
And I'm Charles Aruka. The Oil and Gas Forum is up next.